Welcome to self-education through self-exploration, discovery, and expression. I'm your host, Courtney Brain, and I am currently in the process of making a decision that needs to be made in a week and a half, 2 weeks, about whether or not I'm going to have guests on Self or if I'm going to do season 2 of something positive for positive people and make that just not herpes focused, but it doesn't go together. It's not on brand for something positive for positive people. I'll just put it on hiatus and see what a season 2 is going to look like. And I want to make Self the podcast that I want it to be without having to tie any sort of congruency to the theme of something positive for positive people. So I think that's what I'll do. I already have a couple of interviews that have been done, or they're not even interviews, really. I'm just having conversations with people. So these will be good. I've got Aaron L. Davidson, the author of Breakthrough the Breakup, and that was a very awesome conversation. I don't remember what podcast I might have mentioned we'd be on when I recorded that. I think that I knew that this was up in the air, and I didn't know if I wanted to be something that released on Self or if it was going to release on something positive for positive people. So be on the lookout for that transition. This right here is probably I'm gonna let this be the I'm processing as I'm saying things out loud, but this will be one of the solo episodes. Like every one up until now has been a solo episode. But once we start having guests on, I'd like to continue sharing about my experience, but I want the focus to be more so on the guest experience. I'm coming off of a 5-day vacation in Portland. Wasn't 100% vacation, but I got to do a lot of cool things. And this year, I've been able to travel. Fortunately, I've been blessed to be able to travel and go visit people who live in places that I want to visit. And they have offered their homes to me. And all I had to do was pay my Southwest points. Thank you for Southwest Airlines and that Rapid Rewards card I got back in 2014. I've been able to see some places. I've been able to go places and do things. I was able to get to Portland, Oregon this weekend. And I don't want to say I fell in love, but I realistically see myself living somewhere more west of where I am now. I don't want to say where. I've lived in Houston, Texas before. I lived in Missouri, and those are the only 2 places that I've lived. Visiting so many places out west, I don't know what it is. The best way that I can describe it is I feel very much more supported. Like there's a sense of allyship for the kind of person I am, in a sense of how I do relationships, in the sense of being in a sex positive space. I think that the fact that I've felt alone for a really long time hasn't really come to surface until this year. I think that I've been sort of digging at something in my travels. I've gone to Phoenix, Arizona, as well as Sedona and the Grand Canyon. I've been to Chicago. I've been to Louisville, Kentucky. I didn't go to New York this year. I'm tripping. I've gone to Indianapolis. I've been to Denver, Colorado for the first time this year, and now Portland, Oregon for the first time this year. And being in these environments has challenged me to see what I look like, see how I am, see who I am, not just outside of the day-to-day routine, but when I'm disconnected from the world that I live in, which is often in my phone. So for my nonprofit, for the gym, for yoga, a lot of what I do is just online. And the piece of me that I'm most connected to, or that I feel most connected to, is really my online communities that revolve around some aspect of sex positivity, sexual health, that intersection of mental health, as well as people who follow my podcast. And these people, I have connection to them online. That's it. But I got to meet some of my online people in person, and it's been great. How many people has it been to this point? Probably like maybe 10 ish. I don't know. I don't know how many it's been, but I've been accepting the invitation to stay with people over the course of a weekend, and it's really been great. Not as H on my chest, but these people invited Courtney into their homes. And being invited into someone's home, that takes a high level of trust and safety and security. And I feel like that aspect of myself has really been validated lately. I was about to say violated, been validated lately. And it feels good. For a really long time now, I've been in St. Louis, Missouri, and I've been just hosting this podcast. I look at where all my people that I've interviewed come from. Everyone's in Canada, West Coast, East Coast. Very few people are in the middle anywhere. I look at my dating situations. It's been a struggle for me to find the type of relationships that I want to pursue. I look at the Bumble, Tinder. I don't want to blame it on just culture of race necessarily. But I know if I lived here in Missouri and I was a white dude, I slay it. Like if I was here in St. Louis, I make that joke continuously, but I'm only kind of joking. I don't know. There's just I noticed that I don't quite fit in. Even when I go places with weddings and training clients and people who I'm around in proximity, a lot of my friends are either on the trajectory of family, kids, and that lifestyle at this point, and I'm at a breakthrough of my career. I'm at a point where giving birth to a child to extend the family, my equivalent is being able to live off of my passion and explore entrepreneurial ventures. That's my equivalent here. And in celebrating that, it's not really about the celebration. It's just that I can't really be supported as much as in person. I can't be supported in person by my friends around me nearly as much as I get the support that comes from online. And there's this thin line between the realness of the internet and then what's really real. I cannot discredit any of the online connections that I've built in terms of the feelings that they've brought about. I've felt things. I've been happy. I've been excited. I've been disappointed. I've been a lot of things on the emotional scale through my online connections. But there's nothing like a genuine, authentic connection. I've been able to meet some of the people that I met online in person, and whenever it's been congruent, which all the time it's been congruent, who we are online that I've chosen to meet, who's chosen to meet me and let me into their spaces, it's been consistent. And I really appreciate that. I really love that about the people that I've connected to. But yeah, I realized being in Portland, and I got to visit with Dr. Evelyn Dackert. This is who did this. She asked me a question. I ain't gonna say she did this, but it was already there for me. Her question was, how does that serve you? And I even get chills now, saying it out loud to myself even. Backtracking. In 2017, I moved back home to St. Louis, Missouri from Houston, Texas. Shortly after I got here, I realized I didn't really want to be here. And it crossed my perspective, let me say that, to move to Portland, Oregon. And I remember talking to an ex, and they were talking about moving to Portland, but not Portland, Oregon. I remember a friend that I made. She said that her sister lived in Portland, Oregon, and that she eventually wants to move there. I remember these subtle whispers of signs way back then that that stuck with me, but I just kind of pushed down out of my perspective. And since 2017, I haven't done that. What I did do though was start working at the gym, and I started working with one of my best friends. And then working with one of my best friends, there came this sense of comfort. There came this sense of safety and convenience, because I know that I've historically put a lot of my trust into the people around me because I'm around trustworthy people. So when it came to my job security, financial security, I've put that in the hands of Carl, right? Carl owns the gym. I work at the gym. And with that, I know Carl's not the kind of person to ever give up. If things need to adapt and change, that's what's going to happen. So what I bring that up, the reason that I bring that up is because Dr. Dacker asked me, she was like, because I mentioned to her, I was like, I'm really thinking that it's probably time for me to move. And in our conversation, she talked about how important community was to her. And that was something that resonated with me. I didn't really have language for it until I realized, I live down the street from where I work. I walk to work. I'm mostly there. I come home, and then I'm on my phone, on the internet, on the computer. And this is how I'm getting my connection. It's mostly virtual. There's very few in-person interactions. And when there are, like, Carl is mostly the facilitator of the human-to-human interactions. So she asked me, how does being here where I am serve me? And I instantly knew. I was like, well, I work, let's say 20 hours a week. I work with my best friend. I live down the street from my work. And the word that came up for me was convenience. And then taking it a little bit deeper than that, there's a fear that drives my call to convenience. It would be my fear of rejection. I have essentially outsourced the feelings of rejection to my best friend Carl. And what I mean by that is, so for me, I have no sense of rejection when it comes to my nonprofit, when it comes to my podcast, Something Positive for Positive People. I'll ask anybody to be on it. I'll ask anybody for funding. I'll ask anybody for a donation. I will ask for anything when it comes to Something Positive for Positive People. But let me want to be intimate with someone. Let me want to go out on a date. Let me want to try and get a new client to come train with me. These are the kinds of things that I've not allowed myself to experience because of my own deep-rooted fear of rejection. And I've spoken about this on previous episodes, that my dad issue is, or has been, if I get excited, then I'll be disappointed. So I expect people to let me down. With my mom, it was a matter of being her emotional boyfriend. So whenever I'd look to get emotional support, if I needed something from her at an emotional level, it would be at a bad time, or it'd be inconvenient, or it need to happen on her watch. I remember hearing, I'm on the phone a lot. Get out of here, I'm on the phone. And then with my dad, it was, I'll do it, but then it not get done. So mommy, daddy issue. And I pieced together, both of those things really stem from rejection. I can think back to the first time I felt most rejected. I remember I made a rap song. My dad was supposed to come get me on a Friday after school. I remember I was beating on the table. It was, Daddy, pick up the phone, something like that. Because I was just calling him and leaving voice messages and shit. And I don't know where my mom was at the time, but I can only imagine, like, being in the other room, just hearing that, be like, he gonna figure it out. And then from my mom, like, I just remember early on her sitting in that bed. I remember the layout of the house and everything. Mama, get out of here, I'm on the phone. And then I'm like hearing bits and pieces of stuff that no kid should be hearing their mom talk about, right? So looking at the source of my fear of rejection, right, I have recognized that I have to get out of this codependent relationship that I have, out of all my codependent relationships, really. Because, yeah, Carl experiences the rejection by reaching out to new clients. He ain't got no problem with it. And it's like, well, me, I don't have a problem with it when it comes to something positive for positive people, risk reward, right? And even with like the past partners I've dated, like I look at it and like Carl was the one who initiated my relationship that was going on in 2017, 18, or 2018 through 19. And something like he's been the one to be like, oh, y'all should meet, y'all should connect. He's been the connector for that. And I haven't. I've not been an initiator. I've not been someone to just straight up ask for what I want. Hey, you should come check out the gym. Hey, we should go on a date. Hey, I like how this is going. Would you want to come back to my place and hook up? However that conversation goes. See, I'm so far removed from it. But like I said, it's so easy for me to ask for things for other people. I have no problem being like, hey, do you want to donate to this organization that I'm part of that does this thing? When it's for other people, it's like I'm invincible. When it's for myself, it's like I'm invisible. I don't care to have needs. And I remember, because I talked to my dad about the issue that I had with him, and he said to me, he was like, well, you always seem like you didn't need anything. Trauma response. Here I am now acting, like I don't need anything, and it's coming out in a way in which I really do, and it's inconsistent because when people ask, all right, well, Courtney, what do you need for something positive for positive people? Well, maybe if you could hopefully, possibly just maybe donate a little bit, not too much, just enough to help us with. When in reality, I need to be like, well, here's what this much money gets us to get done. It'd be really great if you could do that. I also need fill in the blank. When people ask me, women ask me, hey, Courtney, what do you want? Let me hear what you want first, and I can kind of speak to that so that I can get what I want. Like, that's bullshit, and I gotta stop. I know that I have to practice being direct, and my lease ends July 2022. So between now and then, I think that that's really where I need to focus. I really need to focus on taking my power back from this codependent sense of convenience, fear of rejection that I've been feeding into over at least the last 4 years. Even when I lived in Houston, like I had to cold call every day. I was in sales. Like I had to pick up the phone, call people, and hear no all day. There was no problem there. And partially because I had to do it. That was something I had to do. Right now in St. Louis, working at the gym, I don't have to do that. All I have to do is show up and, give people a great workout. If people are already showing up, they expect a workout. So there's no rejection really that's taking place there. So how do I identify, how this serves me? Convenience. I don't have to, I'm avoidant. I'm avoidant in the sense of looking at my relationship to rejection. I don't have to potentially experience rejection because that's what Carl's doing. I've outsourced experiencing rejection to Carl. So now that that's been said, and what I need to do moving forward is be direct and practice that directness. What does that look like? I mean, it just looks like asking people who are capable of giving me what I want and need for what I want and need. When people ask me, what do you want or need, Courtney? I need to be honest in my response and saying, this is what I want and need. And, I've been watching, I see a lot of people post on social media, women specifically, that post screenshots of guys, text conversations. And that was something that I used to be really deathly afraid of. Well, what if somebody screenshot me saying something that's inappropriate or wrong or mean or that's misinterpreted, and then there's no context? And I've been seeing the only people who really get those screenshots put up there are people who are being jerks or disrespectful. I'm not a disrespectful person. How else do people get laid? If I'm trying to get some and I ask and you say no, that should really be the end of that. It shouldn't be I ask, you say no, and then I I see the dude flip shit and be like, "You ain't that cute anyway," or say some wild stuff. That's not me. Um, so yeah, I gotta stop being afraid of being that guy because I'm not that guy. I'm not. So me doing that, and then in addition to that, like now I'm feeling motivated. I got back from this vacation and I felt motivated. I feel like I have something that's driving me, and being gone and coming back a couple of times now, I've realized that I might have been experiencing a lot of anxiety, or even, I don't want to say being depressed, but having depression, because my baseline of functionality, the threshold for that is just so high. I go to the gym, however many hours I'm at the gym. I get up, work out, do my routine, then I go, I train people, I come home, and then I do my online stuff, and then I go back to the gym, and then I get ready to do it again the next day. There's not much people interaction. There's not much Courtney time. There's not much of, and I play Call of Duty sometimes, but that's it. And being away and seeing how I am disengaged from my social media accounts, disengaged from my phone, period. I've been able to welcome in whatever my own thoughts were, which were, I like this kind of thing. I don't care to go out and drink and go to the club, bar, party all the time. Like, that's not something that really excites me. Of course, I have a quarterly ratchet quota, but I do. I did enjoy being outside. I enjoyed being at the park, being where there is live music, just walking, hiking, sitting under a waterfall, sitting out in grass, chilling on a log, walking through trees, sitting at that Hood something. I don't even remember what it was, but somewhere where people were wind gliding. And just being in community, being around people that, when I say non-binary, they know what that is. Or when we have a conversation about what it means to be queer, or when we talk about politics in a way that we can discuss the ideas of shifting policies. Like I said, and have a real conversation with a stripper. Like, these are appearing to be my spaces, my people who I don't feel judged by, who I feel like reflect my experience and my identities. Oh God, why is this happening? Why are you pulling up and doing this? Thank you. They parked the car and turned the music down. This is so unnecessary. I think someone's parking and they're just like revving up their engine for no reason. Okay, why now? It's 4 p.m. It's 4 in the afternoon. Why is this happening? Okay, sorry, I lost my train of thought a little bit. Yeah, I realized being gone and coming back, just that I wasn't motivated. I haven't been motivated in a really long time, and I'm not someone who's motivated by money. I'm motivated by connection, and I haven't been connected to, at least not in person, except for when I travel, when I go out of town. And like, I remember a friend of mine, she said to me, because I asked her, I was like, "Hey, when's your next vacation?" She was like, "I love it where I am. Like, I don't need a vacation to escape my reality." I was like, "Oh." I don't want a vacation to escape my reality either. I think that I want to live the kind of life where, like, a training session doesn't be what makes or breaks me as far as being able to pay my rent. I don't want to have to say no to something because I have to choose between doing this activity that involves connection or being able to pay my rent. And that's just where I'm at. Like, for Dr. Dacker to have like asked me this question and to cut through so much shit, it really hit me that I do have things to work on. I've been so focused on supporting people and identifying the shit that they need to work on for themselves through the herpes diagnosis, through not disclosing, through their own experiences with rejection that I haven't dealt with my own. And dealing with my own looks like practicing being direct. It looks like putting this plan together for me to get up out of here. You know, a road to, I think I can do anything if I'm making $5,000 a month. That might not be realistic, but I can do a lot of stuff if I'm making $5,000 a month. And I truly believe that I'm capable of making that happen. Whether it be through creating my own job opportunity, or if I'm just hustling to make more happen for myself. But this motivation to just move, it something sparked in me. Going through this process of healing, it triggered something inside of me that makes me want to work towards something. And I feel very strongly about that. To the point where I talked to Carl. I just flat out asked him, this is me being direct. Would you be mad at me if I moved, if I left? I knew how he was gonna respond. Like I know Carl. He's gonna tell me to do what I gotta do. Take care of me. He gonna be all right. And that was how he responded. But I don't know why in my head I expected like for us to not be friends, or for me to be, for it to seem like I'm putting in my 2 weeks notice or something. Like we don't have that kind of relationship. Now maybe if I like danced around it and was like, hey, hypothetically, oh, that word, it's got me in so much trouble. I gotta stop. There has to be congruency between my beliefs and my behaviors. And I'm currently challenging what my beliefs are with behavior change, and that looks like direct communication. It looks like going for what I want. It looks like setting goals, pursuing those goals, achieving those goals. That's what it looks like. Like now I'm at a place where I'm motivated. I gotta do something. And all of these things, this is the process, the processing of taking things to the next level, experiencing growth, putting yourself first. What they say, bet on yourself. And back against the wall, like historically, I've always been the kind of person who, when it needs to get done, I do it. I get it done. How about I activate that and let that be my default, rather than relying on that after things aren't, going my way. It shouldn't take for me to look down in my bank account and see $1,100 in there for this month rent, and then whatever I got left over for groceries and things like that. It shouldn't take that. There needs to be a consistent flow for me. Like I said, I'm not someone who, I'm not motivated by money. And I know that there's a minimum that you need in order to get by. I know that. But that's all I've been doing is getting by. And I'm ready to thrive. And, I'll have no problem with being able to continue to just get by, as long as I'm able to be with my people, as long as I'm able to continue to serve a community. My identities have been so interconnected with the spaces that I've been a part of, such as the gym, my identity as a personal trainer, my identity as Carl's buddy, my identity as so-and-so's boyfriend, my identity as Honmychest. And Courtney's been neglected. Like that dream that I had 4 years ago about living somewhere west, or living somewhere that was more like supportive of myself, my exploration, my identities. Like I live here, my family's here. I see them less living here than I did when I came to visit from out of town. And this is even before COVID. But I sold my car. I'm 32. I don't have any children. I have an amazing opportunity to be able to support myself. I'm in yoga teacher training. And yeah, I've got all these things that are really lining up for me, and I don't have to have the next place that I go be where I plant roots or put down roots at all. You know, I just want to be places and explore them and have experiences at those places, and until I find a place that I feel comfortable settling into. My apartment here is beautiful. It is going to be a challenge to let this go, especially on the inside. I got these hardwood floors, my walls gray, all my shit fit in here. I got this perfect couch, one of those L couches. It's so comfortable. I got this glass coffee table. I got a glass kitchen table. Got all my dishes here. I have no problem letting this shit go. And I'm about to say it. I just got chills thinking it. I'm gonna have to sacrifice my comfort because I'm prioritizing something else. Something else is being prioritized at the expense of my comfort. Prioritizing success, prioritizing tackling my fear, prioritizing being challenged, prioritizing community, my connection to myself, all these things. I'm prioritizing me. And this prioritization, man, it's not easy. It's not gonna be easy because now I know I'm working towards something. So now when I reach out to clients about coming to the gym, when I'm doing my cold Instagram messaging or whatever it is I'm doing, posting my intentional thirst traps, this is what I'm about. This is what I'm doing now. You know, and it's gonna be how I go about getting myself together to be able to make that move when I'm ready to make that move. And who knows? I'm talking about July. Something may happen next week, 2 weeks, a month that will keep me here a little bit longer or send me on my way a little bit sooner. But regardless, whatever that may be, I know that where I need to be is at that center point of where my behaviors and my beliefs match up. That needs to be in alignment, you know. And as that gets in alignment, as it's aligned, the rest of it will work itself out. But I'm ready. I'm thankful for my vacations. I'm thankful for the people who've supported me and allowed me to stay with them and trusted me to do that. Um, yeah, I'm thankful for these last 4 years because how it served me to be here is I've been able to build my nonprofit. I've been able to be open about my herpes status. I've been able to start this podcast while paying my bills simultaneously and having the freedom to be able to travel and see the places that I potentially would want to be more long term. So this is where my focus is. I know now that I need money, so the focus isn't on money though. I need to connect, and so money as a secondary thing has to come. So that's what I'm working at. That's what I'm working on. I'm in my yoga teacher training, taking that seriously, so that once I get out, I'm able to teach somewhere for somebody. I'm excited. I'm motivated. I haven't felt this in a really long time. So whatever it is that happens, I'm breathing, so I can handle it. Hardest thing I ever had to do was be born, and if you listen to that story, you know that was not an easy feat. So everything else from here on out is just a matter of naming it, claiming it, aim at it. I'm running out of aim words, but yeah, name it, claim it, aim, name, claim, aim, and then along the way reframe. This is the podcast Self, and my name is Courtney Brain. Ooh, I got bars. All right. Yeah, we'll be dropping those interview episodes soon. Those convo episodes, and guest episodes soon, is what I meant to say. All right? Get selfed. Huh? I need an outro for this. Thanks for listening.